Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. Start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's 186 or whatever episodes of this show, and still I can't figure out how to press the buttons. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's Wednesday night extravaganza, where Menoth John figures out how to press the play button on the same song he's been playing for 5 years. Technology is our friend. Ladies and gentlemen, I am, of course, Menoth John. You've known me from such things as Spartacus and the Ten Commandments, as well as several episodes of Friends. And in the catbird seat, we've got, of course, you know him, you love him. He is the wind beneath my wings, the best in the business, the co-host with the most, Mr. John Spencer.
Hey-o.
Hey, everybody. Well, you know, John, marketing has been something that I think we've always kind of prided ourselves on in this show. And, yeah, tonight's not one of those nights that we were hitting on all 10 cylinders because I decided not to tell anybody we were doing the show until about, prox 10 minutes ago. But we have 4 viewers, and I think that's fantastic. So thank you for the 4 of you who are watching. I don't know who you are because you haven't said anything in the chat yet, but if you do, I wish you would announce yourself because that would make us happy.
Well, John, actually, I am using the brand spanking new moderator view, and I can tell you there's no one here yet.
Oh, really? Well, there you go. It says there's 4 people watching on Restream, which might mean that it's me watching 4 times. You never know. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday night. It is a, you know what? We're here for a little diversion. It's a tough time in the world. It's a tough time in America. And this has been a particularly bad week for the world. And so we're here to, we're going to paint some shit. We're going to talk some shit. And I'm going to paint some, yeah. Well, I can see that Chet, you're in there. We're going to paint some shit. We're going to talk some shit. And we've got exciting things to talk about, and I'm sure we'll think of something to say later on. I didn't do any flippity bloops again, John, because if you don't announce the show more than 10 minutes before it happens, chances of getting a strong flippity bloop presence is pretty minimal.
Fair enough, but, you know, I mean, we still got time. We're still easing into it. It's a crazy, crazy time. No one's thinking entirely straight.
I know. It's like this is me most of the day. But
yes.
John, I think there's a lot of working from home going on. Were you aware, John, that there's a lot of people who are not working at work but are instead working at home these days?
I think I notice that every time I drive into work in the morning, I'm like, wow, traffic's just really light. This is great.
Yep.
Takes me like half the time to get to work.
So in this world, there are introverts and there are extroverts. And I'm thinking that I work in a company with a high percentage of extroverts. Because let me tell you about the number of meetings I have on my schedule every day. And I have a strong feeling it has to do with loneliness.
Yeah, meeting, or could it have just been an email?
And you know, I'm struggling because it could be that, and it could be that there's just a lot of project work going on right now. Because one thing that the COVID has no influence over is the future projects in engineering, unless the company's tanking. And oh, by the way, Starbucks is a cash-rich organization, so we're still going.
There's a lot of companies, a lot of foresight who are being, I won't say rewarded, but let's just say they're rewarding their people for their foresight and staying with the company right now, and it's going to change the way companies do business.
Oh, 100%, John, 100%. This is it's really going to rethink a lot of stuff around. If companies are able to be successful in this model, guess what you don't need a lot of? Big ass HQ buildings. And And you
Oh
know,
yeah.
and think of all the gas that's being saved by people not spending an hour and a half in their car to go from barely livable space A to completely unaffordable place that you work. And I think it's going to revolutionize it. It's changing a lot of minds in management about what is a good worker and a not so good worker.
Hmm.
I think it's going to be a big deal. I think it's going to really change things. It's going to be a watershed moment, the second in our lifetime, with 9/11 and probably
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, I don't want to say this is putting 9/11 to shame, but the length of it is kind of make it's a whole different ball game.
It is. It is. But I think that when we look back on it, as far as 9/11 changed how everyone travels. There is
Hmm.
it 100% changed the American and for most part the world mindset towards travel and safety and personal
Hmm.
safety. And mostly for the worst because that's how you get dictators. Is you start it by being safe and
Yep.
whatever. But I think this has a real potential to change that too. And so, but we're going to take a hopeful approach here on the Painting with Menoth John show because that's what we do. We try to take a positive, hopeful approach, and we're going to look at the positives like saving more gas, less carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, NOx, you name it, all your pollutants.
Yep.
You got your NOx, you got your SOx, you got your all that kind of shit. Your formaldehydes, they're all in there, and it's going to cut all that stuff back. I mean, and I think that I think it's great to be honest. But we're not going to sit here and say we're not going to give a hey Ron to the COVID. That's for sure because
Yeah.
there, that man he's wiping out people left and right.
Yeah. This is more of the silver lining.
Yeah, we're trying to find some hope in a bad situation.
Yeah.
So tonight, John, a lot of times we'll be a little silly about our beverage update and our salute, but we're going to be a little bit more serious when we get to it because we got some dedications to do. But
Okay.
tonight I'm drinking one of my favorite whiskeys. This is Bullet Rye whiskey. It's a goddamn smooth whiskey. I'm going to tell you what.
I recognize it by the bottle.
Yep. Well, one of my coworkers, Sarah Busick, who is in the green coffee department at Starbucks, had introduced this to me when we were doing a project out in Carson, Nevada, and yeah, that gets you straight up drunk. But it's a wonderful little bitchy whiskey. It's real smooth, and I highly recommend if you like a rye whiskey, you could do worse than Bullet. John, what are you having this evening?
I am having a proper force blow this weekend since this time since last week's was not good.
No.
That not quite orange juice was somehow half the sugar and too sweet.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad you're drinking the real thing because force blows, especially for the following dedication. I want to put this one out to all the medical professionals and all the doctors, the folks in the grocery store restocking the shelves so we have something to eat that are putting themselves truly in the line of fire with with the COVID and especially the people in New York
And all the sanitation workers everywhere who were still
giving it
hard
all
at work.
100%, man. Some real heroes out there. To all you guys, this one's for you. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
Mm. Very nice.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Very nice. That's very on point. I think my dog farted. That fart was on point. I think the dog, maybe probably not. Foofer's over there, so whatever. Maybe I just smell. So another big announcement, John. We talked about it very briefly before the show. If there is a foundation in which the second coming of the Painting with Menoth John show was founded on, it's on the foundation of charity, and how we want to use this to make sure that we're doing what we can when we can to worthy causes. Well, we found one. The COVID right now is making it very difficult for people to get a hold of PPE, personal protective equipment, and we have identified. There's a friend of ours, the Rich Broutman, and I had identified that he has a charity where they found some channels by which to get a hold of some stuff, and they're taking donations to purchase gowns and things like that for local hospitals and such. So, coming a week from Saturday, that's what we're testing. That's what we're looking at. we are going to do an MST3K / Riff Tracks style viewing on the interwebs of the Velocipaster. Yes, I did not mispronounce that. He's a man of the claws. Were you aware of that, John?
Man of the claws.
Man of the
Absolutely.
claws. So the summary on this, John, were you aware of what the summary of this movie is?
I have. I was actually going to convince us to watch it as like a Brushhead movie.
John, do you want to read the tagline from Amazon?
Oh crap! You caught me. I don't have it up.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. While you look it up, I'll vamp a little bit. You know, that's what they say in the business. You're vamping.
Okay.
So
Absolutely.
So basically, it looks like it's your typical schlocky B movie. It's going to be Mr. John Spencer, myself, Beer Machine Rich, and the GM that you love the best, GM Dan. We're going to be watching the movie together for the first time, and we are going to be riffing and talking about it. And sort of MST3K style, we'll be along the bottom of it. And it's a terrible, terrible, terrible movie by all the looks of it. But we're going to do our best to make it good. I've got a little bit of photoshopping to do where I'm going to try and make a little border like how you have here on the Painting with Menoth John show. And I think it's going to be great fun because anytime that you can combine the things that you are about to hear from Mr. John Spencer, you know you're in for a good time. John, can you help us?
Oh, absolutely. So here's the tagline straight off of Amazon Prime.
Hey, Telkazar.
After losing his parents. What?
Telkazar.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
After losing his parents, a priest travels to China, where he inherits a mysterious ability that allows him to turn into a dinosaur. At first horrified by this new power, a prostitute convinces him to use it to fight crime and ninjas.
That's right, folks. Fighting crime and ninjas.
And
ninjas. Not criminal ninjas. It's separate.
But just ninjas.
Just ninjas. But the fact that it was a prostitute that has convinced him to use his powers not for good, but for awesome.
Indeed. John, did you know it has 76% 5-star rating?
I expect it to be awesome. I expect this to be a one-shot of Kraken movie. Or a two-shot. But
I bet just to be as much as you really want of Kraken movie.
Fair enough. I think it's going to be great fun. And we will have... we are going to have donations. And we'll put a link up on the Twitching. And so that you can Twitch and donate at the same time. And we're gonna violate every copyright in the universe and don't give a shit. If they want to take us to court over trying to raise money for surgical gowns for first responders, bring it on, bitch. I'll notify the media for that hearing.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, anyhow, so that's where we're at. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Remember, that's not this coming Saturday. That is a week from Saturday. That would be April 13th. And it's April 13th, right, John?
No. Quick check says April 11th.
11th, the day before Easter. Because I feel like having a religious movie on Holy Saturday is the right way to go, don't you?
Sounds great.
I was going to be afraid. Hey, Frank the Tank. Thanks for joining us. We're just mentioning on the 11th that we're going to have a Riff Tracks style viewing of the Velociraptor on this channel with Beer Machine Velocipaster. God damn it, Velocipaster with Beer Machine Rich, GM Dan, the co-host with the mo-host, and this fella right here, Menoth John. So, all right, that's all that we have to talk about right now.
Well, a little bit on that note, John, I wanted to let people know that often friend of the podcast and former roommate of the co-host, Creekins, is actually spending some of her free time sewing masks for local healthcare providers too.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. I actually have a brushhead from Facebook that his wife is going to make some masks because Charles's mom got that job at Amazon, and it's a little. You got to be careful. There's a lot of people in those things. They're doing a good job of keeping everything sanitized, but she felt like she'd be a little bit more comfortable with some masks. I didn't want to get in the way of first responders, but she had a little extra time, and she's going to make some, and I donated to Spina Bifida in her name. I gave $100 to them for the 12 masks that she's going to make. So figure that way everybody wins. A different charity gets a little something, and she can be protected at her job. So
Absolutely, that's a good way of doing it.
Yep. All right, so we're going to switch over to the painting cam at this point. And that was like the structured part of the show, folks, that I know you guys all waiting for. That's the
And
part.
now we're gonna do it live.
And now we're just going to just talk about shit. Okay, so here's where we are, folks. We have dead fish in many stages of development at this point. I've been a busy little critter. We have these guys here who have more done. Their skin, and I mean, basically, these guys are blocked out all but for the loincloth and the rope that goes around their waist. That's one level of done. And then we've got these guys who have their skin and any armor that they have done. But I forgot to paint the top fin because why would I? Then there's these guys over here, which have one layer of scale. Oh, that's a bad example. One layer of scales done, but no skin. So on the last painting with Minoth John, we painted all of the scaly bits, and that went really, really well. That's a little ambitious for tonight's show. So what we're going to do for skin is I'm going to fix these 5 that I forgot to do their fins, and then I'm going to pick 5 more out of here, and I'm going to work on their skin. And if I can get the fins and the skins, see what I did there? If I can get the fins and the skins done, then we're going to be in like Flint.
Indeed. I believe this is the obligatory time to show off my giant head.
Oh my God. That's really wonderful. John, that I think is probably the best paint job I've ever seen you do. That is fantastic.
It's coming along. I tried some, I like to use the foundation, not the foundation, what are they called? The contrast paints as like Uber washes. I tried a little bit on the turquoise, but it just didn't work well. It ended up being too splotchy and crap. So I fixed it, washed the purple, been doing lots of little bits here or there. I'm going to wash the metal next time and then keep working on him. I'm trying to take him slowly since like you said, I feel like I'm doing a great job. So I'm going to
Dude, you are. You're knocking it out of the park. Keep that focus, man.
I do have Crossbones almost done.
Yep.
And
Baron Zemo.
Zemo here is pretty much done. I might do a couple tiny things, but I did a couple details here. Coming along, I only got 2 more models from the core set and the original stuff I got, and then I got Vision and Winter Soldier to put together and paint, and then I'm out.
Fantastic, John. I mean, you really should feel very proud about that. It's looking fantastic. You know, you've been hobbying it for fucking 2 years straight.
Yeah, 800 and many days.
So you're just killing it. You're just killing it. All right, so
it's so many that I lose track. 848 was yesterday. Today was 849.
Fantastic. That is just fantastic. I gotta make sure I get this in the camera.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, it's good actually. I've mentioned that to a lot of people as a good way to keep your sanity.
It is.
You know, and it's tough sometimes. My buddy El Marshall is he's at home working, and then he just doesn't feel like going down and painting after he's done working because he's still at home. You know, he does other stuff. So I mean, it's not all easy for everyone. We're gamers. We tend to be the weird combination of introvert and extrovert. You know, we can be extroverted and we like talking to people and hanging out, but we can also be like, you could sit us in a room with a computer or a board game or something like that for forever and be like, I'm fine.
Yep.
So we got to help help the normies get through this time.
Well, I mean, you know, there's times when you have a personal expertise and these kind of hobbies. I mean, so I was telling people at work on our 11:30 group get together that we have on Teams every day now because, you know, it's a way to stay connected.
Yeah.
And I was mentioning the live stream that we're going to do for the Velocipaster, and I'm sure they all think I'm just nuts as the day is long, but you know, they get the fact that I'm doing it to help people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my team at work, and I say my team as in the managers and all, for some reason, they still are shocked when I know something or say something absolutely strange. Like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
One of them was like, John, I knew you were a little weird, but then you Facebook friended me, and I saw your Facebook page, and had to show my husband because I didn't realize how weird you are. I'm like, I didn't even. That's me acting somewhat normal. Come on.
Yep. Nothing wrong with waving your freak flag. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all.
Since we missed it, I do want to mention that Talcazar is actually watching from the hospital with his new daughter.
Oh, fantastic! Well, congratulations.
And then
Congratulations.
Gornis wants to know if you've tried the Kraken Black Roast Coffee Rum yet.
No, and they don't have it at the place I was looking, so I have to find it somewhere. But I want to. I want to try it.
Yeah, it's not the environment for finding, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I got a so probably my next alcohol buy. I saw it at I think John, we went there when you were here for John Con Tenutas.
Oh yeah, that yes, that place was extensive.
Yeah, and they have the Jameson cask edition stuff where they've aged Jameson whiskey in beer barrels essentially,
Hmm.
and they have a stout. They have a stout. They also have an IPA, and they also have one that's got espresso coffee. And I really would like to try that espresso coffee one. I'll probably buy that one next. That's my next liquor. But my shelf of liquor is fairly stocked right now.
Oh, well, ours is kind of medium, but I mean, luckily liquor stores are essential.
Yeah, no doubt. So I forget what I was watching the other day, and someone was questioning why the hell are liquor stores essential, and I said, well, first off, it's in Wisconsin. Secondly, it's you know there's worse things to do when you're home than get a little to self medicate yourself a little bit.
It can take the edge off for a lot of people.
Yep.
It can keep them that step away from going absolutely bonkers.
Now
Because
that all
I mean,
being said, fucking
yeah,
give your balls a tug for a second and don't go overboard.
indeed.
So
But I mean, we had a thing. So we just got the actual stay-at-home order Monday.
okay,
Prior to that, it was recommended, but he just kept getting more and more disappointed. Our governor with people being stupid. Like literally, they had to arrest somebody because he had a bonfire party with like 60 people. And let me tell you how stupid this is. He had one the week before. The cops came and told him cut that shit out. He was having one. The cops came, gave him a chance, said, "Hey man, you send everyone home. You can't do this shit."
yep.
They were walking out, and he was calling people back, saying, "No, the party's still going on," and they just finally had to arrest his ass.
You know what? You stupid is as stupid does.
Yeah. So, but a little bit of that at home keep you a little sane, keep you from getting that kind of crazy.
Yep. Do monitor yourself though. I mean,
Yeah.
just remember alcoholism is a thing, and you don't want to trade one disease for another.
Unfortunately, Gornis is in PA where they close the liquor stores.
Oh shit balls, that's no fun.
Yeah.
That's no bueno.
Which year we're closer to one of the borders of another state there, Gornis might help a little bit with sanity. Well, in the absence of liquor, I go for lots of sugary beverages because sugar high might be obnoxious for those around you, but it is generally pretty fucking fun.
Yeah, I just try to keep it to a minimum. I'm trying to manage the weight on top of everything else. And you know what? The thing I've noticed here recently, John, is that booze doesn't even a small amount of booze doesn't help you sleep at all.
No, but a moderate amount definitely will.
I just don't get that good quality sleep with the booze.
I can, but it's got to be that right level.
Got it.
Too much, and I have to all right, I got to eat something, drink a bunch of water, then up for a while. That sort of defeats the purpose.
Yep, I hear you.
And that's a tough way to go. I tend to edge lower, especially since here I am drinking on a work night. I do have to go into work tomorrow, but I haven't missed work for a hangover ever, so I'm good.
No, that's missing work for a hangover is a cry for help.
Indeed. And I don't drink that much.
Yep. So we're just painting skin
Except for
on
that
these
one
cars.
time at War Machine Weekend.
Yes, that's bad times.
I don't know. I was still able to walk back to the hotel room. Can it be that bad?
Yes, but do you remember doing it?
I do actually.
Good. Well,
I
then
remember that entire night.
that's good.
Oh, I remember that someone left me to finish watching Turkish Star Wars to go play in a role playing game. Who was
That
that?
would be me. I was not sober, and I still don't regret my decision.
It's all good. No, the one guy, and I forget his name, unfortunately, from what is it? One of the other podcasts, um, Combo Smite, just jumped in like a champ and helped me out. It was awesome of him.
I I apologize.
Those are the days. No, it's all right. It's just a funny thing to joke on. Hey, Crimson, how's it going?
Yay!
I'm glad that that the normal April Fools has been kept to a moderate, which is good.
Yeah, no doubt about
I
it.
mean, we need to keep our humor, but you can't go too crazy. I did see the one you posted, which was Chef's Kiss. Awesome.
That was amazing. Lockpicking Lawyer. If you've never experienced his channel,
Yeah.
it will absolutely you'll. It normally it's a very dry, very straightforward and short. His videos are always short, and he does a great job of showing you how terrified you should be about ever leaving anything anywhere because locks simply
Yes.
don't work.
Yeah. I mean, indeed. I mean, I would definitely look up a lock that I was thinking about buying on his channel first. But he said he has a good engaging voice,
Yes, he does.
which is great. I actually first heard about him when he crossed over with the Modern Rogue
Yep.
guys down in Austin, who I love. Um, and I just watch his videos once in a while. They're a good change of pace. Just watch something and just be like, this is cool to watch. Eating dinner or just chilling, whatever.
And you think and you watch him do it and it's like, wow, that must be easy, right? Just boom, 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 and I'm picking some shit. As it turns out, I've not tried it, but from what I've heard, he's skilled. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he's at the top of the game when it comes to lock picking.
Well, if you saw the Modern Rogue episode, like some of those basic, like if you're buying a shitty lock, just don't.
Yeah.
Spend a couple extra bucks, get the better service, the better lock, because he showed those Modern Rogue guys in like boom, no time at all how to pick like the shittiest locks, and it was eye-opening to say the least. The one that scares me is like the security locks he just goes through, like, this is the kind that cops use in the back of their cruiser for their shotgun. You're like, oh my god, no, don't do this, and you have to click, because you have to know.
Yep. And it's real good entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely. He is really good. We talked about this a little bit last time too. There's a lot of YouTube out there, and actually, since everyone's stuck at home, there's a lot of YouTube that's good for everyone. I mean, Mark Rober's been doing science class for the kids.
Yep.
Where he normally does like one video a month, and he's like, here's one, basically every day, which is super cool. Talk says locks only keep decent people out. That's true, but it's like safes. Safes are actually just rated in how long it takes for them to get into them. So hopefully the police come in that time. It's not a single point of failure. It's an additional point of security. There are people who are like, I ain't gonna fuck with this kind of lock, and it's like supposed to be a lock on something in plain view. So people are like, hey, what the fuck's that guy doing? He's been here for 5 minutes. Cops. That's the
Bad
point.
boys.
But
What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
I was gonna say we're off topic, but I'm not sure we had
No,
a
we
topic.
got no topic. We have no topic today. The topic today is not having a topic.
Wow, that's always good. Sometimes just need to chat about stuff. Oh, and wait till the media section, John. I got a hell of a rant for you in addition to the movie I watched.
All right, well, I got some pepper for your salt then. So actually saw a couple of really entertaining movies this week.
It's not all salt, but there's some salt.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll prepare brush heads for an incoming blast of a wee bit of salt. But I saw Jumanji 2.
Okay.
And the other one, watched Zombieland Double Tap.
Oh, cool. I own the first Zombieland.
You do, you say? It's a good movie.
Yes. Do you know what movie I've never seen?
Zombieland.
Correct.
Hot damn. You should put that
I
sucker in.
I'm not the hugest zombie fan, but it was like $2, and you know about me and $2 or $3 DVDs and Blu-rays.
No, I get it, but this one's one to watch, buddy.
Oh, I want to watch it. It's a mood thing.
Got it.
I found a lot of the things, if it's not in a certain subset of genres, I mean, even the best movie in the wrong mood, you're like, what was this shit?
It is a fine comedy.
Yeah. So that is on my list, and Zombieland, and of course, Double Tap is on my list eventually.
So you'll hear some good things about Zombieland too.
Heck, I mean, I crossed something off my list last week. Last week I crossed Stranger Things season 3 off.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Spoiler: I did not agree that everyone says it was much worse than season 2. No, I thought it was fucking great.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it was fine.
I kind of like where they're going with that genre. I'd like to see more, not too much more, but a little bit more in that sort of genre.
Have you watched Dark yet?
Dark. No.
German Stranger Things.
Huh.
It's
no.
Wonderful so far. I've not watched the whole series yet. It's Belinda and I get together over at her place on Thursdays to kind of just be able to watch some TV at her place because she spends so much time over here at Casa John that it's she should get use out of her house too. And
yeah, absolutely.
So we get we generally get like takeout food from a place that that maybe the kids wouldn't necessarily want, like Pakistani or something like that. And
yeah, something cool.
Yeah, some good food. Something that's not
smart.
nuggets. And
hey, do not disparage the mighty Chicky Nuggy.
I'm not disparaging them. I just don't want to eat them all the time. The and it's good. It's a really good show. It's got a very similar kind of weird currently going on vibe, and this involves like almost like time travel and stuff. It's neat.
Cool. I will say the one weirdest thing, this is a little more meta from the film school that we normally get, is I find that the kids act very modernish.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that it's set in the 80s. They act much more modern. And a lot of things are much more modern. So when they put in the appropriate for the time frame stuff, such as the asshole reporters and all, it feels off.
Okay.
I got a little weird feel out of that. But that, and then I've also been watching a lot of videos on, film theory and greater, greater film, what?
Kicking up your knowledge base on filmology, if you will.
Yeah, filmology is just sort of like the ideas and the theories behind it. And I realized why certain movies people love, I don't love. It's because there's one thing that a certain movie series does too much, and people dig it because it's comedy-wise, but I don't dig it, and that's it's called bathos, which is basically when you have anything heavy, you just crack a joke.
Got it. For like comic relief.
Every time. Yeah, so obviously I'm throwing shade at the Marvels because they do that shit way too much.
Yeah.
And, I mean, not that I'm good. You're never going to hear me say that any of those are bad movies. They do not have a single bad movie. The lowest you get is a solid, watchable movie.
Yep.
And it's arguable which one's worse. Probably Thor 2.
Yeah.
But, that's the lowest they get. But a lot of the newer ones, a lot of the ones people love, like I'm not the hugest fan of Thor Ragnarok. It was absolutely fun. You put it on, I'm going to sit down and watch it. But just purely from a looking at it standpoint, I don't like the bathos. They really shit on every deep moment they're going to get, except for the death of Odin. All the rest of them, it's just like, come on, guys, really?
I think that when the second they put the director they put in Tiki into that movie, you are going to get a comedy.
What I'll say though, and I said this about Mandalorian, he is upping his game because he did a couple episodes of The Mandalorian. And he has taken that back a bit, and it is fucking refreshing.
He did the episode with where they made the escape, right?
I think he did the episode with Made a Mistake, and he also did the. I don't know which one he did. You know what? I'm going to find out. And Gornis, in answer to your question, you want coffee whiskey, not peanut butter cup whiskey. It's appropriate for Mount John show. Coffee whiskey. Come on, man.
Yeah, and the screwball though is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. You put a little screwball with some Godiva chocolate liqueur, and doggy, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yep, that is
All
a
right, let's
Reese's
see.
peanut butter cup.
He directed the last episode.
Okay, so that was
And
the
then he was
one where the IG unit sacrificed. Oh, spoilers, Jesus! Spoilers.
Yes.
Yes, that one.
It may actually be the best episode of the season. It was really good.
Yeah, I agree. I love that episode.
I mean, the whole season's good. I didn't really feel like there's kind of one filler, but even it's not really filler because it leads to certain plot points that need to be addressed.
Do we need to do a Mandalorian retrospective?
At some point, we're going to have to.
Yeah, I mean, we need to do that probably
I mean,
soon.
we're going to eventually. I am watching the entire Star Wars series. It's just maybe a little ways away.
Yeah, we're a long ways out.
I don't know. I've been rolling through stuff pretty quickly.
Fair enough.
Oh, there we go. It just didn't update. There we go. Cool. So yeah, but it's good. Like I like where he's going. I like to see. I mean, it's great to follow the works of someone in particular, even if it's just a little bit here or there. I mean, not much like John's painting. If you want to take a look at his, or maybe mine, if you think that, to see what they've done. How they level up, if you will, because it happens in everything you do. I read the Warrior trilogy from BattleTech last year. Michael Stackpole, and I'm a big Michael Stackpole fan, and it is great to see, an earlier book by him to see how he leveled up since.
Yep.
I mean, you see directors who, leveling up what they've got. You also see directors sort of leveling down. Hashtag Michael Bay.
Yeah.
But it's more he's just hitting that certain thing and going with it.
The hell time is it? 7:38.
Yeah,
All kinds of show.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can talk for hours.
I got. I might. I only put out 5 of these dead fish to their skin, and I've only got 3 left. So I'm making pretty good time getting these things out. I was struggling to find a brush that I could actually work with. I have to. It's time for the brush restorer to make its grand appearance again.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a couple brushes I don't break out too often because they're really new, and I'm like, I really need a fine tip for a long period. I'll use that. Otherwise, I mean, if you're just, I don't say slopping paint on, because you should never just be slopping paint on.
No.
If you're painting a larger area where you do not need to be as fine with your brush strokes, some of those older brushes are still perfectly usable.
Yep.
I mean, look at John. John's doing pretty good work, and that is not a tiny brush.
No, this is my go-tos are size 1 and size 2 brushes.
I mean, I saw him, one of my buddies, John Connor, not chased by a Terminator, used to be manager of the Glen Burnie Battle Bunker for Games Workshop. I saw him paint an entire army of Imperial Guard with just a GW starter brush. It's not like award-winning or anything like that. It was absolutely just great, solid work.
Yep. And I'll be very honest with you. This is what I'm doing right here now is I'm applying glazes, and this is thick for a glaze. I mean, to be honest with you, I am not doing anybody proud with people who've taught me in the past. Fucking, I'd go and slap it on his knee. Well, that came off real good though. But it's the nice thing is that these brushes do hold their tip, and so as long as you're careful with how you treat the brush. If you're just getting the tip in the paint, you can do a lot of detail work with even a brush that's a 1. With a brush that has more bristles to it, what it does for it though is that it holds the paint better, and you can do more area perhaps before you're going back in, and it stays moist, so that Yeah, if you have a thinner paint, it flows better.
Yeah, and I have some really tiny brushes, and they just don't hold paint worth a shit.
No, there's no
And
bristles.
it's like
There's no bristles to hold
they're
it.
almost like they're a trap. They
Yeah.
like you look like, oh man, I can do some detail with this. Then you get it like it doesn't hold paint. It's fucking worthless. Give me a bigger brush.
The only time that I'll bust out a really small brush is if I'm trying to get into a confined space, and I'm trying to and I just need to get, and I don't want to hit an area that I've already painted.
Yeah, I try not to get myself in that situation. Try to plan myself past that, but it doesn't always work.
No, I know it's
Sometimes you
absolutely, you should be always
need
planning right
that good
around that.
brush.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to make sure that when I'm putting the paint on, that I'm not slopping such a high level of paint on it that my zenithal priming doesn't do anything. Because if you put a thick coating on where it just smears all over everything, that those
And
areas you
it's
left more dark aren't going
you
to
might as
show
well
anything.
just done you might as well just done one color priming then.
Right. Might as well just primed it black. But I
That's
still
me.
use I still use washes. Um, but I'll tell you, there's no scenario in which I go without the zenithal priming anymore, because you can paint so much faster if you let the priming work for you.
Yeah, I just don't have the spot for that yet.
I get it. I get it.
I'm hey to scare everyone. Think of all the models I've been painting for 848 days and all that. I use this to prime by brush.
You're a strong man.
I try to be.
You're a strong man.
And yes, I have an airbrush. Eventually, I'll get it set up, and we switched to using that because fucking ain't no one got time for that shit.
Yep.
But right now, I mean, I make the time for it. Get a little extra time, prime it up. It's all good. Um, I know my roomie Banyan has been doing the brush on white primer. I don't know why. Just how he wants to paint. More power to him.
Yep.
I'm just trying to convince him to actually paint. Oh, and for the horror of horror, John, with all the game stores closed, I am almost out of black paint.
Oh. Well, you know, we always have said support your LGS, but you can order that shit on Discount Games Incorporated too.
Also, your friendly neighborhood Amazon actually has that kind of shit.
No kidding.
You're ordering probably from a game store that sells on Amazon, but
Oh, that's true.
yeah, because I like the Vallejo Black because um, dropper bottle.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I am the Wookiee. You should get some. You should get some minis and start painting. I mean, it's a good hobby. It's good. It doesn't seem like it would be, but once you get to a certain point where you just understand what you're doing, it's relaxing. Even when I make a little boo boo, I'm like, I mean, you can say there's no mistakes, only happy accidents. You're like, it is what it is. No worries. You can always paint over it. You can clean it up.
Good to see you in the chat there, Ryan. Haven't seen you in a long time. Wookie's from my local area. He's one of our Keyforge players. And since we can't play Keyforge so much anymore, I haven't seen Ryan in a while.
John, did you know
Did I know?
I actually tried playing Keyforge with the roommate?
Yeah, I did. Super sweet.
Yeah.
And
I think one of the decks we had was of significantly lower quality than the other deck,
that'll happen.
and it was okay. I understand the game. I learned by watching you and Rich,
Yep.
and I'm like, this is fine, but I'm not sure it's what we want to play, but good to know I can play, and it just seems like with a solid deck, I don't need the best or whatever, but with a solid deck, it seems like it could be very fun.
Yep. It's there are very good decks and there are less good decks, and they do sit on a bell curve, and I am not willing to spend the kind of money that, I mean, where people will put decks up for sale. I like the game. I don't give a shit about the game nearly enough to spend even $40 on a deck.
Oh,
So for me it's fun to open the deck, and maybe it's good, maybe it's not.
yeah.
But I get the biggest charge out of playing with Charles, and get to play with Brian and the other guys in the area, and hopefully someday again we'll be able to do that.
I find that me and the roomie just need some inspiration for our Transformers decks, and then we'll make some new ones and then play because we sort of got the ones we made, and they're sort of they're known quantities.
Yep.
But I will say I have spent $40 on a card for Transformers. Not many times, but a couple.
I get it.
I mean, sometimes you just want that particular character. You're like, I can get that character. All right, fine, I'm getting that character.
No, I
Not
get it. I
many times.
understand.
I'm a big mathematical. Like, I don't need any card that much where I could buy not bust spot, try and buy half a box and see if I get it.
Yep.
Or you get like a Banyan, and he's like, I really need this one super rare because I want to play him. It'd be awesome. He buys a box on Amazon, comes delivered, and he's like, oh, look, I got the card I wanted. I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? I'm impressed. I mean, I've gotten really good pulls. My whole crew has super rubies because I have pulled them out of packs
Nice.
like many times, which is cool. It's a fun card. So Decaf 345 says, "Hey John, anyone challenge you to Vassal or Tabletop Sim?"
Hey, you know what? It's been a long, long, long time since I've played on Vassal, and I've never played on Tabletop Simulator. But I'm always willing to learn how is the War Machine on it? Is the interface on Tabletop Simulator better than it was on Vassal? Because Vassal made me want to kill myself.
I feel like Vassal will be better now that pre-measuring is allowed.
Yeah, it's still, at least it used to be. It was so clunky to use the measurement tools and stuff that it made it very, very painful to play.
Yeah, I mean, when you saw Masters at it, he says unfortunately Tabletop Sim's not as good as Vassal in his opinion.
Well, maybe Vassal's improved.
Yeah,
Is
but I
Vassal?
used to watch the Steam Forged guys before they actually made a company play War Machine on Vassal back in the day.
I remember that.
But interesting. I mean, luckily for my games, I have a webcam, and Gonzo and I have played. I taught him how to play Transformers by Skype.
There you go.
So there's potential there. And honestly, unfortunately, up until the point where they said don't leave your house if you can help it, I told the guys, you want to come over, I'm not worried. You can come over. We're not like we're going to get more than 10 people in the house. That would be uncomfortable to begin with.
Yep.
But I could see that. Or, we can just do that. Or just last Sunday we were going to play Marvel, but he had it's allergy season here in Maryland.
Okay.
So his allergies were kicking his butt, so he was not able to play Marvel with me, which is unfortunate, but maybe we'll try for this Sunday.
Cool.
Theoretically, we do both play most of the same games and could play that or Armada or a little X-Wing. X-Wing is still good fun for absolute casual flying, but still interested in never taking that game beyond casual. I'm not really interested in playing any game much beyond casual, to be honest.
No, my competitive days are over.
Yeah, I mean, just like having fun.
Yep, me too. Me too. I would be down with taking a look at Vassal again, though. I'll have to put it back on, and because I do have an itch to play some War Machines. How up to date is the who's mentioning it? Was it Decaf? Who was mentioning?
Yeah, Decaf.
Decaf. How? First off, thanks for coming to the show. Hope you'll subscribe and be a part of the Brushhead Nation each and every week on Wednesdays. This is our normal time for broadcasting, so put a little thing on your calendar there that says you got a date with Menoth John. But how good and up to date is it? Does it work for some of the newer casters like Gareth 2 and stuff like that? Do they have the models for them and stuff?
Oh yeah, because that's a big thing is getting the right model so it's more clear what's going down. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously it doesn't have the rules or anything like that, but that's fine. That's what you got war rooms for. But you kind of need the models and the damage grids and that kind of stuff. Yes, mostly, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, I mean, that's cool. I'm still looking for a good, pick up for a couple minutes, video game put down. I'm playing Borderlands 3, but that's not, I mean, that's like, I fired up. I better pencil in an hour and change.
So are you looking for something that's actiony, or are you looking for something that is more of a thinking person's game?
Whichever, just something I can just pick up, play for like 15, 20 minutes or so, and then put down.
Are you
I was playing
familiar?
Star Realms, but I'm fucking sick of that game and its cheating motherfucking ways.
Are you
That's-
familiar with Elder Sign,
Mm,
the dice game, the Cthulhu dice game?
no, is that like a Cthulhu? I'm about to say it sounds like a Cthulhu dice game.
Yep. And but there is another game that's called fuck. It's not called fuck. I promise. Let's
I
see
mean,
here.
I'm not looking up a game called fuck. I know where that ends.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can open up. Let me open up my Steam account here and
Is it Elder Signs Omens?
No, it is not that game, but it is
Oh.
it's reskinned that you're trying to survive and get a group of people on a spaceship to Mars. When I bought it, it was $1.50.
I mean, that's my price range.
Yep, it's called. I believe it starts with a T. Tarsus. Tarsis. Tarsus.
Yeah. Gotcha.
God.
Turn-based space strategy with dice and cannibalism. I mean,
Yep.
sounds interesting.
When you run out of food, sometimes you got to eat the crew. But
I mean,
it's hard to beat.
look, I played Scavies in Necromunda. I know about 9 crew members just to eat them.
That's right. So I think if it's still cheap, it's certainly worth more than $1.50. I can promise you that.
15?
15. Wait for it to come on sale.
Okay. Let me check actually, because what the heck is it called? Borderlands 3 came out first on Epic Games, not on Steam.
Yep.
Because they offered them more money. Understandable.
Yep.
So let me see if it's on there, because that might be worth it. Does not look like they have it.
Okay.
I'll keep an eye on it. Or taking a look. I mean, I don't mind having. A lot of people were really upset about having 2 game things, but I'm like, I don't really give a shit.
Yep.
I mean, I prefer to have it all on one, but I mean, I really wanted to play Borderlands 3, and I enjoyed the crap out of Borderlands 3. I still do. I think it was nothing but improvements.
Over Borderlands 2?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Borderlands 2 is a really, really good game, and it's not quite. Borderlands 2 is one of those, lightning in a bottle.
Okay.
This is not quite there, but every gameplay improvement they made is literally an improvement.
Okay. Because I'll tell you, I played Borderlands 3 on my PlayStation 4 for about a minute and a half or 2 minutes, and I never picked it up again. The boy played the shit out of it.
Used to. Yeah. But all the stuff they did with the guns definitely are more balanced. It's not just. It's not like, oh, look, it's an assault rifle. I'm just going to sell it.
Okay.
Like each gun has has its use, and there's some crossover a little bit, but not a ton of it. And the way certain guns have alternate fire modes is so really cool.
Excellent.
I mean, you get right now my idea the holy grail of gun modes is you get one that comes in with the shock, and then you can switch to fire or corrosive, depending on if you're robots or humans.
Yep.
Because you're just like, and shield gone, one button change, and now I'm shooting you with fire.
There you go.
A lot of good stuff like that, and I love, there's little things. Like being able to walk up to a guy they're driving around in cars and pull them out of their car, gank them, and take the car.
That is cool.
I mean, and sometimes you get extra stuff for your vehicle by doing that. Sometimes you pull them out like it's got some new parts. You take it to the thing, they scan it, they add the parts to your thing. I'm like, that's really cool. It's a lot of fun stuff like that. I found it fairly enjoyable. But I'm not nearly the video game I used to be.
No, I hear you. Basically, these days, if it's not Crossout, I'm not playing it.
Fair enough.
I'm having so much fun with Crossout.
Looking for certain things. It looked like fun. I watched you and Rich play a little bit after you guys taught me how to play Keyforge for a little bit. It looks like it's fun, but I'm not. I don't I don't want that kind of time, unfortunately.
No, that's cool.
But that's what it is nowadays, isn't it? With games, you're looking for the game that fits the time slot. Well, there's so much out there now. You're just like, what fits in my time slot? You know, I got X amount of time. I want this kind of thing. There's a game out there for me. I just got to find it.
It's a wonderful time to be alive, in some respects.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a good thing that all those games because it makes it easier. I mean, think about the streaming and all that. Think about, John, if you will, since you and I are a little bit older. Think about the '80s with the coronavirus.
Oh yeah, I heard somebody make this comparison earlier today.
How many books
too.
I would have read?
Yep.
All the books. I would have read all the books.
Yep.
All of them. It would have been psychotic. Like, I mean, crazy. Hard to fathom even. Especially with a lot of the younger guys, growing up and all this stuff. You don't know what it was like.
I know, right? It's uphill both ways already.
You had to watch the local news because you had to see what the going on.
Yep.
You didn't get, cell phone alerts when the governor says, stay the fuck at home. By the way, if you want to look up on YouTube, stay the fuck at home. Samuel L. Jackson's got you covered.
Very nice.
So.
All right.
But yeah, it's like I said, in some ways it's a great time to be alive. In other ways, it's, we wish we weren't living through this stuff. But as Gandalf says, everyone wishes they weren't living through this stuff.
Yeah, it's a tough time, but we're gonna get through it. Okay, now the $64,000 question is, how far do I want to push this? What time is it here?
It is 8:57.
Almost time for the media section. So we're gonna get one more fish done of skin before we.
More fish.
We're gonna skin this fish, and then we're going to move on to the media section.
Better than fishing that skin.
I hear you. That's different. It's not the same.
That's totally different. Not at all.
Not the same thing.
But I tell you, I'm much as I'd like to be staying at home all day, I'm actually kind of glad I get to go out and still go to work because essential and still. I mean, we'd work from home and cover. I mean, my clients know I've got them covered. I mean, I work hard to make sure they love me because that is how you make yourself indispensable. They love you.
That is called job security.
Indeed.
And that's something that I think that the secret to me being able to work from home and be successful doing it is that my attitude is that I'm providing a service. And even though I don't have a single customer that is not a fellow Starbucks employee, I treat every one of them as if they had a choice to work with somebody else, and sometimes they do, and sometimes if you act like a big enough jerk, you will give them the opportunity to work with somebody else. And so I try.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
go ahead.
I mean, that was sort of my last job, the one that wasn't really going so well. Is I started off doing that, and then I got a little jaded, and they were treating me like an ass, so I shot back, and I don't think that was necessarily the best call in hindsight.
Well, no, I hear you,
but I mean,
it wasn't for you anyway. So
no, it was not. That was not. I mean, I'm certain at this point I would have been fired anyways because my boss got fired about 6 months the year after me. So, but I knew they were gunning for him too.
When I left,
it's a crazy place. Don't worry about it.
Yep. When I left General Mills, I knew that my career there had ended, and I could either move on to something else or on my terms, or I could find the free cheese line. And I was pretty sure my shit provided no bad smells whatsoever back then. I'm still a confident individual, but I know that I am also a deeply flawed individual, and I tried my level best to be kind to those around me and to provide as best I can as much help and service as I can to those folks that I have the opportunity to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way to look at it. I had this weird, this was a couple of jobs ago, I had this weird thing, and I'm like, man, I can't believe they have me doing this stupid shit. And I'm getting so upset, and I'm like, wait a minute. They are paying me to take jewelry out of little baggies and throw the baggies away, put the jewelry in a bin. The fuck do I care what they're paying me to do? They're paying me the same regardless of what I do. I ain't better than this.
Nope.
This is what they want me to do. It's all good.
Turns out that's what's needed today.
Yeah.
And as frustrated as I'll get, calculating and recalculating energies and things like that for these roasters, at some point, you got to ask yourself, why are you having to do that? Because if you would just take a second and build yourself an infrastructure that you could just refer to that shit, perhaps you wouldn't have to do all this work. And then you get creative and you do something smarter.
Well, I do that with some of my workers. They're like, "Hey, John, can you help me clear this spreadsheet? I like to use it for doing my stuff." And I'm like, "I see you have these fields here that do this and this. Do you want them to do this and this automatically?" They're like, "Oh God, yes, you can do that." I'm like, "Yes, I can do that."
Yep.
And here's your spreadsheet. I've made their life easier. It's awesome.
Yay.
It's literally awesome.
Yep. Well, I found out where that smell was coming from. It's my paint jar. It started to.
Oh,
It has started to no longer be fresh.
Yeah, I hate that less than fresh paint jar.
Yep. All right.
I find I have to change mine as soon as it starts to get sort of like this is. That's got to go.
Yep. Mine's a very thick color, and it's got something on the bottom of it.
And I love using these things for paint jars. They're great. Like everyone should definitely.
Yeah, you gave me the love on this one. You showed me the way.
It's funny they can't see it because you're on the paint cam.
I know. I held it over here.
Oh, there you go. Gotcha. Yep.
So it's the ones that have the lid on it, because then the cat doesn't get in it.
Yeah, cat doesn't get in it. You can close it up. Easier transport to wherever your fresh water source is.
Yep.
You have little, trippies. You're not like, oh God, oh nope, didn't spill because it's closed.
Yay! All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14 skins are roughed in, and I have 4 more fish to paint for the skin. And that is the worst part of painting the swamp shambler. Once you get past that, you're pretty much living the dream.
Oh, Takazar says, I have some old washes. They smell like soy sauce. Anyone have that happen? Yes. Washes quickly start smelling horrible. Don't worry about it.
All right, so I need to put this over here. I'm trying to line this all up so that I can have a good place to put my keyboard.
That's funny. I ordered this cool keyboard that was like, it was in halves, but it connected together, and you could do all that, or you could split it apart if you needed to.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it was from a place in China, and apparently, it was a load of bullshit.
Really?
And today's lesson is: this is why you both use a credit card and you use PayPal. PayPal will go to bag for your ass.
Yep.
They want you to keep using them for their money. They're like, oh yeah, we want the money. But if you're like, hey, these guys didn't send me a confirmation or nothing, they're like, yeah, give him his money back. Here's his money back. We ain't gonna give you the choice.
Yep.
So always think about that when you're when you're buying stuff. Hey, Duster.
All right. Well, hey, there. You know what? We got 10. According to this, we got 10 people watching.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I think that's amongst the highest count we've had in a while. By the way, I did. So we crossed the threshold for Twitch partnership.
Oh, again?
Yeah, they didn't want us.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Fuck 'em.
It could also be that we're using copyrighted music in every episode, and
yeah, they can go. Yeah, we don't
really
need that.
care.
But let me give you all a peek behind the veil. I am on another podcast, as some of you know, and do you know how many times that podcast has gotten paid by Twitch?
Once. Wow.
Once. Because you have to get to $100 before they give you any money. So we've only gotten to $100 once.
Well.
So not really worth it.
Yep. I don't care.
Doing something else entirely.
I do this. This show returned from the dead for exactly one reason, and that is to have fun and to hang out with you, John, and hang out with the brushheads that I missed very much. Well, good, Wookie. I'm glad you got your twitchy. You're twitching. Twitchy bucks.
Hey, Legionnaires.
Hey, Legionnaires, fantastic. Welcome. We're here every Wednesday again. So Why not? Come every Wednesday if you would. We would love to have you here because you're one of the OG brushheads. So, well, John, it's that magic time of the show. I've put
It
my
is.
paints away, and thank God I put a lid back on that water because it smells like rotten eggs. Can't be good. Can't be good. Let's get over here to the media section. Boom. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah,
Wednesday is set in stone.
absolutely
Yes.
set in stone. Yeah, so it originally started out as Wednesday because that was a night that my girlfriend would always go to see her mom. Well, she can't do that now because of the COVID, but we're doing the show, and she doesn't mind having a night where she's not having to hang out with me. Can you blame her? So it's back. It used to be your Sunday night addiction, now it's your Wednesday night addiction. So, all right. So remind me to send you a stinger transition. I don't know what that is. Is that like
Probably music for when you're changing scenes.
Oh, that would be a thing. I could probably do that. I could incorporate that in. If you want to, that'd be fantastic. Wook, we love you. We'd love to have you send something to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
But go ahead. So, John, we can do this a couple of different ways. You generally lead off, so I could lead off with some positivity, and I know you've got a little bit more of a salt aspect to maybe some of yours. So I'm going to lead off with a fun movie tonight.
Okay.
I watched Jumanji, the second one.
The next level.
Yeah, the next level. And
Yep.
of course, this has all the players from the first one: Jack Black, The Rock, Gillian Anderson, and I'm not going to remember the gentleman, the comedian. Anyway, another guy who's popular with the kids these days.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, thank you. And they basically the plot of the show is they put
Gillian Anderson. That's the one. That's the one.
Oh
else
yeah,
entirely.
Karen Gillian. Two women I'm hot for. Doesn't matter.
Fair.
The one is, however, significantly hotter than the other. Although the other one in her day was quite a spicy meatball. So but they put the game. They're extending circumstances. They're back in the real world. Shit gets awkward between a couple of them because they were kind of in love, and then things got awkward, and so he puts the game back together, and they end up going back in the video game. And I think, without giving away a whole bunch of plot and all that kind of stuff, I think that the Rock is probably one of the more underrated actors out there. He's charismatic. He's good with mannerisms and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when it got to be the time to be in weird bodies, it was really well done. And Kevin Hart's fantastic too.
Yeah, he's actually legitimately funny, unlike a lot of the guys they tend to get.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He's not like a one-trick pony like Chris Tucker.
No, Chris Tucker peaked, and then he was Ruby Rod, and then I didn't need to ever see him again, because he peaked.
But we did in everything.
I know. Anyway, so it was really a lot of fun. The first Jumanji, when we watched it, we were a little dubious going into it, but it was
so good.
It was gold. The second one, I would say, is at least as good, if not better. And the reason I say that is that they do some really clever stuff. It could have just been, let's do the same thing again. And they did some stuff with the body swapping this time that was really, really well done. The adventures that they went on were exciting. It was well paced. There are some scenes with bridges, rope bridges that are really fantastic, that are mind bending. I really enjoyed this one. The whole family enjoyed it, and Karen Gilliam. Oh, god damn.
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
damn. She's a fine young lady. But so she's a comely lass, if you will. She's man, and also my favorite companion of all the companions from Doctor Who.
I liked her and Rory together very much so.
Yep, they were fantastic. Anyway, so I'm going to give it a shot of Kraken just because it's fun. And sometimes when you're watching a fun movie that's adventuresome, a little bit of Kraken can just give you that. It'll just it's like a fine sandpaper. And just give it right there, and boom, you're doing good. So one shot of Kraken for the next level, Jumanji. John?
Let me talk about a movie that tries to be both fun and adventuresome and pretty much fails on both.
Okay.
I'm talking about Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
This movie is so hard to watch. And, you know, John, before you get launching into it, at one time I thought this was the one of the original trilogy I liked the best. And then I watched it again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as much as I shit on it the last time we reviewed them, it's going to be 3.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure 3 is clearly the best. It's definitely not 1. I think 1 is worse than this.
Okay, so okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
I'm going to offer a counterpoint to
the
that.
parts I'm sure you're going to say are worse.
Yep.
So Talcazar says, "Oh no, John Spencer, why'd you do it to yourself?" Are you asking the guy who just watched the entire Transformers series why he's doing it to himself?
Yeah.
Because I'm watching all of the Star Wars movies and series and everything.
Yep.
That's what I do here. I watch series.
We're waiting. We're waiting for him to get to Rebels, kids.
I've seen the first season of Rebels. I own it.
The second season is significantly better. It's the season 2, 3, 4 are amazing. Anyway.
Awesome. So, let's start with the absolute horrible parts of this movie. George Lucas should not be allowed to write dialogue.
Oh God, no.
Like ever.
Oh God, no.
But most of it is at least palatable, except for Padme and Anakin. And I really feel like the entire thought of this should be the first movie in this series. This should be where we intro, and then there should be like a flashback scene in it. You cut the end of it out, and you make it a different idea. Just the assassination plot on Amidala and all, starting to go like, hey, what's going on? Show the rebel, so the Jedi starting to be overwhelmed by these separatists before they come outright violent. And then the second movie, you get into the clone plot and everything. It gives each one time to breathe.
Yep.
It also lets you breathe with the fact that I think, technically speaking, Amidala was fucking seducing Anakin. She can say, oh, we shouldn't fall in love. And then some of those dresses she was wearing and all, like, bitch, you do not wear that with a boy unless you are trying to get him.
That, man, yeah, she's kind of a, no, yeah.
There's one especially where she's like, I'm like, no, come on. But the love story of them is maybe the most unconvincing love story I've ever seen.
Without question, there is no chemistry at all between those two.
For the first time, I can say not a better love story than Twilight.
No, for sure. I mean, that was, and that's some brutal ass shit right there.
On the bright side, that is probably the only part of the movie that is actually legitimately bad. The rest of it is mediocre or better.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, aside from the critter in the diner, that guy.
I don't mind that scene. I like what they were going for. I just feel like it's a little off. I feel like they need to spend more time making that a little more, tightening that up. But the whole movie needs to be tightened up.
The stupid robot waitress 50s can die in a fucking fire. But the
that was George Lucas wanting to do something.
Yeah, he was trying to force comedy into it, and
don't force comedy.
And the but I agree that when they get to Camino, and you find out about how the Caminos are doing the clones and all that stuff. Hey, I am all good with that. I thought that the battle scenes on between Boba Fett and Obi-Wan were very good, and
yeah, they were
top notch.
Yeah, and as usual, the visuals are all fucking stunning. I mean,
yeah,
Lucas and ILM know how to make a movie look awesome, and it does look awesome.
Yep.
The sound design is a little interesting because he was obviously in love with that sort of ship sound he discovered in episode 1 for the pod racers.
Yeah,
because ships also have that sort of like that was sort of his thing, and I don't like that so much.
Yep.
And John Williams, I mean, John Williams is still on point. It's just hard to be on point between Duel of the Fates and then the soundtrack for episode 3 is just fucking great all the way through too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say this is his weakest soundtrack because the weakest John Williams soundtrack is still an A.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yep.
I mean, go back, look at his entire catalog. Like, you have to go really far back to like 1942, and you're like, maybe a B plus for 1942, maybe a B. Still really good.
Mm-hmm.
He's the master, and it's good, but there's no standout track. There's no track that's like, this is the fucking track.
Yep.
It's not like Duel of Fates or the Heroes Fighting. I forget what that one's called, where Obi-Wan and spoiler Anakin fight. Is that a spoiler? I don't think it's a spoiler.
No, it's not.
There's no track like that in there to really up there, and it's just the only downsides are, again, the romance and then the forced humor. They try and be funny, like be witty, not funny. That's what Star Wars needs.
Yep.
Like Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back were witty, not funny.
Yeah.
Even C-3PO was witty more than funny, and now it's like not. And there's a bunch of scenes that really just I could go on for probably an hour about how I could make this movie better,
Yep.
and I'm no expert.
Nope.
And Talgazar, you are downright crazy. I've seen most of the Resident Evil movies. I have standards.
Yeah, no. God, Belinda brought up Resident Evil the other day, and I was like, I don't think you want to go there.
Here's my review of Resident Evil. I like the first one for what it was doing. I think it's a solid, enjoyable movie to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I like the second one as an action movie. After that, they can die in a fire. I don't need to watch anything else. It just went off the fucking rails.
Yeah. Cool. But
Anyways.
we digress.
We digress. So overall, I'm going to give it... It is better than the average action movie because it does have so much going for it. You just really have to focus on the positive rather than the negative. The negative is really a small part of it.
Yep.
But it's so easy to focus on that. That's why these movies have a bad reputation, is because people focus on the negative. I have some people I follow on Twitter who legitimately love this movie, and when they start talking about it, I'm like, you know what? That part is great. Yep. It's easy to get caught up in the negative. You look at the positive, and you're like, okay, cool. This is cool. I can get by it. I'm gonna give it 2 shots of Kraken.
Yeah, see, I'm a full shot of Kraken.
Great by any stretch, but
I'm a full shot of Kraken, just because the Anakin Padme dialogue love scenes are so bad.
There's one exchange to them that's truly good, or part of it's truly good, and that's after he kills all the Tusken Raiders to try and save his mom. And he starts off being a whiny cunt, and that's the biggest thing of this movie is you don't like Anakin.
Oh yeah.
And as soon as you don't like Anakin, the movie's failed.
So now, if I'm not mistaken, your next stop on the love train, if you're doing them in sequence, would be to switch to the Clone Wars now.
Absolutely true.
Okay, so have you watched the Clone Wars before?
Nope.
I'm going to tell you, John, had they done Anakin the way they did Anakin in the Clone Wars, it would have completely changed. You would have had George Lucas doing the last 3 movies too.
Yeah, I can believe it. I'm looking forward to it.
Likeable.
I can't guarantee how many I'm going to get through in a week. I mean, they're like 20-episode seasons, and they are 22 minutes a piece, or whatever. So it's a lot to chew through. But I do have more time to work on it. But for my second thing, it's sort of spoiler as to what I'm watching on the side, so you guys can know why I might not have quite all that time to put into it.
Yeah.
But
cool.
Yeah, so two shots of Kraken for that for me. And again, keep in mind, this is the guy who just watched all the Transformers movies and found stuff to like in some of them. So
yep,
there you go.
So
what's your second one?
My second one was Zombieland Double Tap. Now, this is a movie that I had seen actually on an airplane, as back when I used to actually fly, like when any of us used to fly, and going back and forth between Europe as much as I was doing over the last year and a half or so. And this was I was a big fan of the first movie. Thought it was really clever, really well done zombie movie. Brutal in the right ways and with enough comic relief to them to make sure that they just didn't become grimdark Walking Dead exercises. I need some comedy with my horror, and I thought that Zombieland struck the balance very well. In Zombieland 2, we pick up our intrepid heroes after the events of the first movie, and there's a wonderful scene in the White House to open the film, and it's off to the races. I thoroughly enjoy Woody Harrelson and his reprising his role as someplace in Florida was his name, and Michael Cera is fantastic once again as Columbus, and the two female leads that are in there do a great job reprising their roles. It is they visit places like Nashville, Tennessee, and they find it's fantastic. I don't want to give away a whole lot. Once again, there's not a cameo, but there's a role in there for the fellow from Idiocracy. Oh God, what's his name? The lead actor from Idiocracy.
Um.
Luke Wilson? No.
Luke Wilson, indeed.
Yeah, Luke
it has
Wilson.
to be Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson. Yep. Does a fantastic job. He's in it for not a long time, but he's got a great cameo in it. Bill Murray even makes a cameo appearance back, which you should be a little shocked about, but but that's not really a spoiler. But anyway, so it's a great film. Really enjoyed it. I'll give it a solid 1 shot of Kraken. Also, positivity is the word of the day here for my reviews. Really liked it. Felt like it was well paced, which is something I always complain about movies. If they're not well paced, I struggle with them. And
Yes.
And it's a very well done. It gives you a solid couple hours of entertainment. It is not longer than it needs to be. It is just right. So 1 shot of Kraken for the Zombieland 2 Double Tap.
So this is a little preview because I'm going to talk more about this on More Than Dice.
Yep.
But I'm going to give the review to CBS All Access. But what I'm watching, me and Banyan are watching Picard.
Okay, I'm going to have to hear about this because are you angry at it because I don't? I sense some negativity.
I'm 4 episodes into Picard. I'm into 4 episodes of Picard, and we were upset that I had to stop it to get up and get ready to do this. So he was a little upset about that.
Okay.
No. So CBS All Access advertises a month free right now.
Okay.
It's a month free of their $6.99 with commercials version, which is fucking unwatchable.
Yeah.
Completely unwatchable. It's a commercial before the show, 3 commercial breaks during it, 1 between the end and the credits. So you have to stop right before the commercial if you can see it coming so you can get out of it so you can go to the next episode, or you have to fucking wait through the entire commercial to be done. And each commercial breaks between like 45 and 135 seconds long or so.
Wow.
It's terrible.
I'm sorry, if you're paying for a service, there's no commercials.
No, they're doing what's basically the Hulu service, but worse.
Yeah.
Because I know Hulu's got commercials, but it's like before the show and after the show or something like that. That's okay. Like even YouTube's got commercials occasionally. You're like, yeah, sure, I skip it, whatever, fucking. No, there's no skipping. There's no other thing. It's fucking unwatchable.
Wow.
Like if I find out who I meet the guy who's like, I thought of putting commercials in CBS All Access, I'm going to jail.
Yep.
Not for murder. No, that's not worth that. But I'm going to punch him in the face really hard.
Yep.
Because it's terrible. So I immediately upgraded to the $10 a month, no commercials version, and it is fine. They do actually apparently have a lot of stuff. We might keep it because Banyan was looking at some of the stuff they had and like, I kind of want. I heard that's good, which whatever. I'm like, well, we're going to share this. You can have my password, whatever. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yep.
But if you guys consider it, it's just the $10 a month version. The other one's unwatchable.
Got it.
I give the regular version 5 shots of Kraken. May God have mercy on its soul.
Wow.
And the regular version gets 2.5 because it's what everyone else fucking does.
Sure.
Picard, on the other hand, I'm not going to give it a rating yet, but been enjoying it. It's a little nostalgia. So my boss, who's also named John, loves Star Trek, but he is a very classic Star Trek guy.
Okay.
He likes Roddenberry's vision of the ideal future, which, as we all know, is a very interesting idea, but it takes some story out of your potential, some story potential out of what you got.
Yep.
I actually like this because Picard is the epitome of the Starfleet ideal. Mm-hmm. He would fit in Roddenberry's perfect Star Trek universe.
Yep.
But he doesn't live in it.
No, he certainly doesn't, and certainly not in Picard.
And this is exactly what I wanted because It is legitimately a sequel to all the Star Trek stuff. This is what's happened going forward, because I am so blazing sick of prequels.
Yep.
No more prequels, guys. Advance the story. Even if you have to put it way in the past, advance the story and go on. Like, Star Wars is doing a prequel series, like, I forget how long before, but way before.
Way. Yeah.
Way before. And it might be okay because it's far enough before, but I want to see where it goes, not where it's been. You can do some where it's been, but you need to have stuff going where it goes. That's why I like The Mandalorian. It's sort of filling in the gaps between. That kind of stuff's good from time to time, but since Disney has the time to think about it all now, they should be thinking, okay, we need to make sure anything we do is set far enough back that no one we talk about is going to have an effect on the future world, because you can't. You can't change the universe. Like, if they have a universe-destroying weapon, we don't care. You know why? It's not going to destroy the universe. It's still there.
We know it didn't happen.
Yep. Exactly. It's hard to keep proper suspense and proper danger in that.
Yep.
That's why I like Future. There's danger. Is Picard going to live? I don't fucking know. Good Lord. He could die.
I am going to tell you that right now that Picard is the best Star Trek that has ever been made.
You know what? From what I've seen right now, I don't know if I necessarily agree, but I agree it is great Star Trek for what we need now.
You're not done with it yet. It is the best. It is the best Star Trek that has ever been made, without question. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to finish this week. For 10 episodes, it is so fucking tight, and it is perfect. It is as good as it gets.
And I'm looking forward to that. We'll have it done by Sunday.
Yep, it is.
Guarantee that. And then we'll start watching Discovery, because we want to kind of power through, so we're not paying too much money if we decide to cancel it. And I do want to see Discovery.
Yep.
I've heard all the critics. I expect from the first season good sci-fi, bad Star Trek.
I've heard the second season is baller, though.
I've seen some clips of the second season, John, and I mean, Picard sort of destroys this thought. But until Picard came out, from those seeds I've seen, Pike was quickly becoming my favorite Starfleet captain.
Yeah. No, so I can't speak to that because I haven't seen season 2 yet. I've only seen season 1. But I'm going to obtain season 2 to watch it.
If only someone you knew had a login that they'd happily give you the password for. Oh, who that could be.
That would simplify things.
It would simplify things, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. All right, folks, we would never ask you to do that, however, because I'm sure that would probably be illegal. And so...
No, only John is allowed to use this particular login for CBS All Access. That's John's
account. All right. Yes. So, well, hey, folks. So I can't wait to hear what you have to say about Picard. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, the hype train is real for it. It is.
How far in?
It's living up to the hype more than anything. 4 episodes.
4 episodes. Okay. All right. I'm not sure.
Literally just saw 7 of 9.
Okay.
At the end of the episode.
Right, so Jerry Ryan has shown up. Okay.
I'm not a fan of Voyager that much. I thought Voyager was, generally speaking, subpar.
Yeah, it's the worst one. I think that's the worst start. Well, it's close. Enterprise and Voyager are pretty close to being as bad as it gets.
But I like that she's in it, and actually, having looked at some things here and there, I like what they did with her character, and she may have ended up being the most interesting character in Star Trek Voyager. Would you fucking believe it?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. I think one of the hallmarks of Picard for me is the plethora of important, strong female characters.
Yeah,
it is the best balanced television show I've ever seen, as far as balance between interesting, powerful, charismatic female characters. Just
I just love where it's going. You get a little bit of that Firefly feel, but they're not cramming your face in it like something like Dark Matter, where it's like, oh, Firefly, can you spell it?
Yeah, yep.
Like, yeah, you're trying a little too hard. They're not trying too hard. They're just go.
It's wonderful, and it's heading to a beautiful place, and make sure you're gonna love it.
Awesome.
Episode 10 is gonna end, and it's gonna be like, fuck, that was amazing.
I mean, so you're telling me I'm gonna have it for season 2 then?
Yup.
Yeah. I knew I was. I mean, let's be honest. I love Star Trek and Star Wars both equally. And heck, John, we might get, I don't know if it'll happen with things going on right now, but they're looking at another Battlestar Galactica movie and or series that's, sort of more of a closer to the original, and I love that too.
Yeah, sweet. Sounds good, man.
Now we see some Buck Rogers to make it awesome.
Ooh, Aaron Gray. Oh my God, my early days with Aaron Gray. That outfit that she wore was amazing for its time.
Absolutely.
She's still a fine woman. Holy cow.
Yeah, my buddy Keith got a picture with her at the Comic-Con, and the only thing I'm like, you're with Aaron Gray and you're not smiling. He's like, I never smile in pictures. I'm like, what? You look like you're about to shank a motherfucker.
But it's Aaron Gray.
I got with Aaron Gray. It's awesome. I'd have been like, grinned, like, this is awesome.
Yeah, no kidding. Beady, you're hot, Buck. No.
Mel Blanc.
Yeah.
Let's just not talk about season 2 of Buck Rogers. It was not as good.
No. Anyway, folks, well, I think that brings us to an end of the media section there, buddy. And
Absolutely.
And an end to another exciting Thrill Pack Wednesday night extravaganza. I want to say this is probably the highest average viewer count we've gotten since the return of the show, which is amazing. And I'll tell you, little by little, here comes the Empire, little by little. All right, so
we're not saying we're back. Don't call it a comeback.
Don't call it a comeback. No, we just went away for a little while. It's not a comeback. All right, so
not a comeback.
All right, folks. So I'm gonna put on the music, and we're gonna get that going. There we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the best thing I can tell you is washy, man. Keep washing your hands. Stay out of public places. Stay home.
Ask for help if you need it.
Ask for help if you need it. Remember, if you're not feeling good, get to a doctor and call first. Call first. Make sure they've got tests. Make sure that they're ready for you. But on behalf of the fellow up in the catbird seat, you love him, the co-host with the most, Mr. John Spencer. I'm Menoth John. Stay safe, stay well, and see you back here next Wednesday at 7 o'clock for your Wednesday Night Addiction. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Stay the fuck home.
Stay the fuck home. Oh my God. Oh my God.